The Trebein-Flynn Victorian House, well, Victorian Edwardian House, April 10th, 2020. Greene County Historical Society, 74 West Church Street. Imagine that we've just come in the front door. This is a little reception area, nook, whatever you want to call it, at the bottom of the turret. These gorgeous fireplaces. None are working, but they are all gas, and you can kind of see the backdrop there. Matches, or goes with. There's a little sitting area. And there's the great big front door we just came in. Immediate to the right, we have the downstairs parlor. Beautifully furnished. And we believe that this front window was the original front door before the turret was added on in about 1900. Yes, the floors squeak. You cannot sneak around in this house. Samuel and Clarissa Crumbaugh. This is the dining area. We have a tea set here and a tea cart. Well, sorry about the glare. This is feathers made into a bouquet. Punch bowl. Table, sideboard. The Galloway sisters, the granddaughters of the man who built the log house. And here we go into the kitchen. Built-in cabinets. Coal stove. A lot safer than the open fire cooking over in the log house. Little cabinets there. Coffee grinder. And a cherry pitter. Kraut maker or slaw maker. And this little kitchen is fairly modern. It has a neat tin ceiling. The icebox. Nice little sitting area there. Have a nice refreshing cup of something, tea, coffee. The breakfast nook. And another built-in cabinet with shelves, storage below. The downstairs half bath. I like the floor tiles in here. They're little X's. All right. And here we go into, we have this set up as a music room. This is Lucinda DeVoe. Very tall, tall mirror. This is Betsy Faulkner, Lucinda DeVoe's grandmother. Nancy McKay Gowdy, her husband Robert Gowdy. He was in the War of 1812. Small piano with a metronome, zither, violin, or fiddle, whatever you want to call. and a squeeze box. It's not quite so big as an accordion, but I'm sure it makes a lot of noise. Nice painting. And here we have a Charters piano made in Xenia. And here's a newspaper article copied from the Xenia Free Press in 1833, where he's making musical instruments. The Charters family later took up jewelry making and selling. And this very large portrait is Joseph Warren King, black powder manufacturer. He had his black powder mills, Miami Powder Company, up at Ghost Station. Hall tree, put your hat up there. In this room we have a display set up about Helen Hooven Santmeyer, author of several books, most famous being in Ladies of the Club. And here's Miss Santmeyer herself and her friend Mildred Sandow, who was also famous in the library world. And here she is. This is the back door of the townhouse. This building used to sit on this property before the tornado and was destroyed. There's Miss Santmeyer. And this is not her dress, but it is something she probably would have worn. And we have a couple of pictures up there by Curtis Strauss of the Galloway Log House and the Snedeker Museum, which was a precursor to the current Brantley Carriage House, but it was also destroyed in the tornado. Now we'll go upstairs. If I lived here, this would be where I would be with my lunch and my book. And you can even see the courthouse out there. All right. Here we have the front bedroom. The baby cradle here. What you would do is put mosquito netting over the top of it. And the lid does come off, well, the top, so that you don't have to slide the baby in there. All the furniture that matches in here, the dresser, the bed, and this washstand, all belonged to Reverend William G. Moorhead, who was the head of the Xenia Theological Seminary, a Presbyterian college, essentially, for ministers. This figural lamp. Beautiful quilt. And on the washstand is a china set, Flo Blue. This is one of my favorite artifacts, this desk with the interesting wood, maple. And then we have Sarah Hawker. And a reverse painted clock. Frederick Hawker. And look at this pretty tile. Isn't that neat? this is Frederick Hawker. Frederick and Sarah were both from Beaver Creek Township. She died in 1850, so we know that the portraits date from before then. This alcove held a Murphy bed, which you would pull down out of the wall to sleep in and then put it back up when you were done. This is a hair wreath. Yes, it is made from human hair. And the thing with the hole in it there is a hair receiver. When you did your 100 strokes a night of brushing your hair, you would put whatever was in your brush in there and make hair pieces out of it. And another wash stand. More gorgeous tile. Coates Kinney, who was a paymaster during the Civil War and a poet. A nice four-poster bed. Spare quilt if you get cold. And this bathroom lets out into the hall. And there's the room we just left. Turning right. We have a small sewing room. With an old sewing machine, probably from the 1860s. And the more modern Singer sewing machine here. The maid's room. Little sparse, utilitarian. You didn't always have a maid that lived in. Sometimes the maid went home to her own family at night after she was done with her work. And then the toy room. Every kind of toy you can imagine. Books. A dollhouse. Tricycle. Gigantic bear. Dolls, dolls, dolls. And the interior of the dollhouse. Nearly everything you can imagine, including a Monopoly set. Dolls, dolls, dolls. More dolls. This is the upstairs parlor. And this nifty desk belonged to James Galloway Jr., son of the man who built the log house. The strings are on the chairs so nobody sits in them. I have a gramophone here. The upstairs parlor would be a little less formal than the downstairs parlor. Reverend Moses Trader, who was a Methodist circuit rider. This is a dress closet here to the right with the mirror. This is a linen closet. And the other door to this bedroom. And then we have another bathroom. This is another full bath. The Pepsodent is in here because the man who invented Pepsodent lived in Xenia. William Ruthrauff worked at Hooven and Allison. One of his hobbies was care of the teeth. And so he invented that formula and moved away and made his money elsewhere. And we have a collection of grooming items. And over here, this little alcove, we believe, was the original bedroom door to the blue bedroom. And when the turret was added on, which is this part over here, we think this was just converted into a little alcove. And sometimes we'll place things in here. This is an 1830s dress out of our collections, which I think is gorgeous. I just love the fabric. And this is the door to the attic, which we will not go in because there's nothing really stored up there. And here we go back down the stairs. And the gorgeous stained glass there. And here we have Patrick H. Flynn, who is the man that added the turret. So when we got this portrait recently, I thought it was appropriate to put it in here because he put the turret on. And there we go again.